Time to round up another big story from the week. The U.S. Department of Justice is now investigating the mysterious death of a man from Jasper. Alfred Wright's body was found last fall in an area his family members say had already been searched, and they continue to question the results of the official autopsy. The Sabine County Sheriff says it found the 28-year-old died from an accidental drug overdose. But a second autopsy, Wright's family members say, shows evidence of foul play.
His ear missing, his throat being slashed, his two front teeth, and then an additional tooth on the bottom. And his eyes being taken out. They said that that was also due to animal activity as well.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I never bought it.
The Sabine County Sheriff is not commenting on the case since it is an ongoing investigation. Well, given the history of racial violence in Jasper, is the Justice Department investigation warranted in this case? That's what we're talking about this half hour, and we invite you to join in on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also send me a tweet at Sally Mack, Fox 26. We'll be sharing some of your comments throughout the segment. Joining us in our newsroom, we have our legal analyst, Chris Tritico, news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. All right, guys, so what do you think about the way this investigation has been handled so far?
Well, you have the Sheriff's Department there in Sabine County did a 3-day investigation on this, started their investigation with the fact that he was under indictment and therefore probably on the lam and ran. And then the body was found 150 yards from the place where they had their command center for their investigation. All of it adds up to another problem down in the Jasper area, just like James Byrd almost 20 years ago when he was drugged to death. It's an ongoing problem. I think Jackie Bally, Sheila Jackson Lee was right to ask the Justice Department to step in and take a look at this.
Well, I think the sheriff's not helping his own situation because he has made questionable statements. The fact that they're saying that he's rude to the family, he's not disclosing a lot of information, and the fact that after 4 days he decides, okay, this young man is on the lam and we're going to shut down the case. Those are a lot of things that add up, and a lot of people are questioning the motivation. And the fact that it's an area that has had many problems, many issues of racial tension. So, you know, even if the Sheriff's Department and the sheriff has done everything by the book, when you look at all of those other factors, there are way too many questions for people to feel comfortable with whatever statements or whatever decisions that are coming out of his office.
You know, Mustafa Tamiz, they find the body 150 yards from the command center. It's got one sock on, his pants are gone, his throat is slit, his teeth are missing, his eyes are gone, and he has an ear gone. Now, I could buy the argument that maybe an animal ate his ear off, but an animal didn't pull his teeth out, an animal didn't slit his throat.
None of the facts and the narrative that the Sheriff's Department put out was accurate, and it was completely contradictory to the facts. There is something very nefarious about what's going on there. I feel for the family, because imagine if one of our loved ones was missing, and instead of the people that we trust to find that person and bring people to justice, that they were giving information about something that happened to one of us when we were in college as their leading line of suspicion. The fact that you said earlier, 150 yards from where his body was found, that the sheriff had their command post.
You could have been able to see it, you would think, from standing there.
It is unconscionable, and I am surprised that there isn't a much greater outcry of this. And I'm surprised that it's taken the Justice Department this long to get involved.
Well, it's the area, I think. It's that part of the state where we've had these problems in the past. We're going to go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media accounts, and I know we've got some activity on this on both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Marcia's saying it's evident that this is a murder cover-up, in my opinion. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee did right in asking for an investigation. Then we have the other side. Paul says, well, I know the sheriff there and his family quite well and personally, and he says, folks, this is not a cover-up, nor was it racially motivated. It's a sad loss, but Mr. Wright was not murdered.
And I don't know how he knows that unless he's been down there and looking into this himself. But Jackie Bally, you don't have to be a private investigator or a forensic pathologist to say that this appears to be foul play, do you?
Well, you can pull up this area, and there are many incidents like this that have happened. You see a lot of young black men who have been murdered or have been attacked in that area. There are lots of questions. That's why it's known for having racial strife, racial tension. But having his tongue missing and just the mysterious circumstances surrounding this young man's death. I'm a typical person, a typical layman will look at this and say there are several issues that bring concern. And again, you're not even a family member, you're just listening to this. And I do agree with Mustafa when he says it's very sad that a lot of other media outlets have not really looked at this. The only time I've heard about it were through the black media outlets. Those are the only ones who were covering it at one point. Right. And I do agree with you when you say it's because of this area. This is, unfortunately, if you look up, this is one of many incidents like this in this area.
Now, Mustafa, I think we do have to discuss a little bit about the fact that the family has given some inconsistent information about him. He was under indictment and pending trial for a felony case, and there was at least some amount of drugs found in his system. Doesn't that merit some look by the authorities?
Look, if there was a fair investigation that didn't become with a narrative that was just completely contrary to the facts, maybe. But regardless of whether he had some drugs with him or not, no one deserves to be killed in that manner, and we can't tolerate this in our state anymore. This type of investigation that the sheriff's department did, there is definitely something nefarious, and the federal authorities need to step in. They need to go in there and clean this up and figure out who's responsible and bring them to justice.
And we're going to leave it right there, Sally. We'll be back in the next hour with two really, really good stories.
All right, great discussion, guys. We want to point out there is a $30,000 reward that the family and working with this private investigator has put up for information that might lead to an arrest.